Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault, and once again I'm coming to you with yet another range report, and another range report on a really nice and high quality firearm. This is from Radian. This is the Model 1. Yes, it is an AR-15 rifle, so I am going to give them some points right off the bat for not calling this some type of 15 model, meaning like an RA-15 or something like that. They're just calling it the Model 1, so it's a very nice difference that distinguishes them from other companies. So good on them. Now this is a very high-end rifle. It's going to be about in the mid $2,500 price point. Now I had never handled or shot a Radian before. I did know them because of their charging handles. I have seen their charging handles on the market, but never a complete rifle. So this is going to be a real treat for me to get to review and shoot. But before I do, as always, I want to thank the people that make these videos possible. First and foremost is the owner of this awesome rifle, and once again, it is my local supporter and fan, D. Thank you so much for lending another amazing rifle to the channel. Thank you so much. I want to thank my Patreons as always, because through their monthly donations and support, they help keep the lights on around here. And you guys know I'm a YouTube bad boy, or YouTube says I'm a bad boy, and they help me keep this content coming. So not all my videos are monetizable, and they help me a lot. And as always, I want to thank my primary sponsor for every single one of these range reports, because you guys know I do a lot of them, and he provides all of the ammunition, thus making them financially feasible. My good friend Mark from Brownworks. And yes, I know you are here to see a review of a rifle, and you're like, I'm not here to buy wood grips. Well, I'm telling you, Mark at Brownworks is an artist. He's a craftsman. He is one of the best grip manufacturers in the world. He makes a wide variety of grips for a wide variety of firearms like Colt 1911s, Beretta 92s, and the entire CZ family of firearms. But beyond that, he also makes wood panel grips and rail panels for, yes, AR-15s. Yes, take a look at that. Something different, something new. A company thinking outside the box. That is unique and very special. Well, that might not be for everyone. I know if you have a gun like a Model 1 from Radian, you have other fine firearms that you probably want customized, and Mark is your man. He can put on custom logos, custom engravings, finish them a number of different ways, put on a number of different textures. Anything that you can imagine, Mark can make and create. He has some of the best customer service out there. So I'm going to put a link in the description below and as a pinned comment, as well as a coupon code for 10% off your first order. Go over there, check out his website, see what he has to offer, and if you don't find what you're looking for, make sure to contact Mark, and when you do, tell him the Texas Gun Vault sent you. Alright, so let's talk about this rifle and what it is. And man, isn't that just one beautiful firearm? Take a look at that. Yes, this is the Model 1 from Radian. Now this does have a 14.5-inch barrel, but that muzzle device is pin and welded, making it over 16 inches, so this is not an NFA firearm. In case you were wondering, the color is Radian Brown. Yeah, they do a great job on that. It's a beautiful color, and it is finished really, really nice. And for the purposes of this review, this gun has not been modified in any way. It is in its stock configuration, and I know some of you guys are going to be wondering, I am running a Vortex scope on this with a Badger Ordnance mount with a 45-degree offset for a Trijicon RMR. Yeah, the owner of this rifle really knows how to set up his optics, so it's going to be great to shoot with something like this. So let's talk about what I like and don't like about this particular gun. And the first thing I want to say is, while I am not often a fan of billet uppers and lowers, these are amazing. Radian obviously takes a lot of time and care in milling their uppers and lowers. Often those billets are just kind of big and bulky. However, I really feel that Radian here takes their time, and they have a lot of attention to detail in all of the small parts. Yeah, it's really, really cool. As you can see, even in those buttons, they have their logo. Yeah, a lot of time and detail goes into this rifle, and I think that's why these already cost so much, and they take a lot of care in building them. I'm also a huge fan of this rail. Yeah, these rails are going to be a little bit bigger than the really tiny slim ones you see on mini rifles today. I actually prefer them to be a little bit larger, and that's because of heat dissipation. Those rails that are really close to the barrels get hot, and for my larger hands, I just prefer something a little bit more substantial to grab onto. The fit and finish of this gun is also amazing. I've already talked about the color, but yeah, I don't see a blemish on this. This thing is finished spectacularly. Yeah, it's a beautiful color. I'm sure they offer it in a number of different colors, but this one is really nice. I'm also a big fan of all of these ambi controls. With some of the other high-end AR-15s that I have reviewed lately, some of them are using more mil-spec lower receivers, and I'm like, man, for a price point getting close to $2,000 or $3,000, I really expect some ambi controls, and Radian here does not disappoint. Everything is well thought out. So if you're a left-handed shooter, all of your controls are going to be on the left-hand side, and if you're a righty, all on the right-hand side. So you can get that mag out on either side, drop the bolt on either side. It's really thought out and it's very ergonomic. And the last thing I want to mention about the gun that I really like is the charging handle. I mentioned I knew about this company because of their charging handles, but these charging handles are awesome. I believe they call it the Raptor series. It is fantastic. You can get a great grip on that charging handle, and I'm not going to take the gun apart right now, but if you ever get to see one of these taken apart, they even have lightning cuts on that charging handle. Really different and really interesting. So just a lot of attention to detail and a lot of things that go into this gun. So now let's talk about just a couple of things about this gun that I don't like. And once again, these are very qualitative. These are just personal opinions. The first one is this gun has a 45-degree selector. Yeah, I prefer mine to be at 90 like a military firearm. For me, that is just a little bit on the weird side. This gun also, as I mentioned, does have a 14.5-inch barrel with a muzzle device that is pinned and welded. I personally prefer, if we're not going to go the NFA route, just to have the 16-inch barrel so I can remove the muzzle device depending on the type of suppressor that I want to run. But if that doesn't bother you, you're not going to run a suppressor or are just completely married to a particular brand of suppressor, you can go this route. But if I'm going non-NFA, I think I prefer the non-pinned and welded. And the last thing about this gun, from just having it here on the table, that I don't think I like is the trigger. Now, the owner of this rifle, D, said it's the one thing on this gun that he does want to change. So before I got to the range, of course, I was here on the workbench and just dry firing it. And as you can see, the gun is empty. I have verified that by looking in that chamber. And I can just tell you, it's a little bit heavier than what I would want it to be. And that reset is a little bit on the slow side. I kind of feel like the return of that trigger is a little bit slow and a little bit heavy. It's okay when it comes to the wall. It's just not my favorite. I definitely think a Geisley trigger in this thing would be a huge upgrade. All right, so that's the things just having it here on the table that I like and don't like. So let's go ahead and get this thing to the range. As always, I'm gonna set the target at about 12 yards. I just wanna put 20 rounds through this thing, make sure it functions, see what the trigger's like, see what the recoil's like, just see if I'm gonna have any other issues before I go out to further distances and try to shoot this thing faster. So here we go, 12 yards, 20 rounds. I'm gonna use both the scope and shoot it at the 45-degree offset with the RMR, and let's just see how this gun performs. And as expected, the rifle ran great, was very accurate. The trigger is meh, as I suspected, but it was kind of weird for me having to shoot with that 45-degree offset. It's just not something that I'm used to, but it made me feel a little tactical or tacty cool. So I did like that. All right, so no issues whatsoever. The gun seems to be perfectly gassed. I don't have that blowback in my face like sometimes you get. Maybe the only thing on this gun that I would like in certain models would be an adjustable gas block, especially if you are going to run it suppressed, but right now the gun seems to be running great. So now I'm going to set out the target at twice the distance, probably about 20 yards or so, put another 20 rounds through. This time I'm going to go for the head on this IDPA target and see if this group opens up. And I call this the accuracy portion. No, we're not going to bench rest this. It's going to be in the next one, but I just want to see what happens shooting this thing offhand at a little bit further distance and how it continues to work. And you know, often when I'm shooting at this distance, which by the way, this gun continues to shoot very accurate, I begin to notice if a gun is not balanced very well. But this gun is balanced great. It was very comfortable to shoot and hold on my shoulder for a longer period of time. So I'm really happy with that. The balance of a rifle is really, really important in the long run, especially depending on how you set up all of the accessories. And I like to have that center of gravity right there in front of the mag well, and that's where this one is. So it's very, very ergonomic and comfortable for me to shoot. So I love that. And once again, the trigger is just a little bit meh. It's okay. I really wish this thing had a Geissele super semi-automatic trigger in it. Now we're going to go for the bench resting portion. Now, on some of these rifles, I'm trying to get on the rifle range or the 100-yard range at where I go shooting. However, I wasn't able to on this range trip, so we're just going to have to stick with the 25-yard range. However, I am going to bench rest this and go for a fresh target. So this gun so far is really accurate. So once again, I'm expecting really good results. So let's just see what happens on this one. And well, you can't argue with those results. Look at that, 20 rounds through virtually the same hole. This gun might be the most accurate rifle I have ever reviewed on the channel, or one of the most accurate in quite some time. So I'm really, really impressed with it. And something else that might play into this accuracy is the chambering of this gun. This gun is chambered in 223 Wylde, so we can shoot both 223 and 5.56 really accurate. Now, you're not supposed to shoot 5.56 through a 223 chambered rifle, but you can shoot 223 through a 5.56 chambered rifle. However, you lose a little bit of accuracy, but the 223 Wylde is supposed to be kind of a happy medium between the two, and you get good ballistics out of both. And this gun is exceptionally accurate. So I know if I took this thing on the 100-yard range, it's going to be shooting exactly the same. All right, so the next thing I want to do is give my wife Becky a chance to shoot this thing. Right now, we've been shooting a lot of ARs, and for her, she's not really a gun nerd like I am, or probably you are. So to her, this is just another AR-15. So it's always good to get her opinions, because sometimes she likes the cheaper rifles, doesn't like the more expensive ones. It's just interesting to get her perspective. So I'm gonna open the magazine and see what she thinks. And while she did mention after shooting it, it's just another AR-15, she did say how much she did like this handguard, because she knows that usually when she's shooting her portion of the range report, I've already shot 60 to 100 rounds through a particular firearm, and the handguard usually begins to heat up, something that she doesn't like. Well, this handguard is dissipating that heat really well, and she did take note of that. So once again, going back to what I mentioned in the early part of the video, I do like this handguard design. It's really nice, ergonomic, comfortable, and gives you tons of M-LOK slots. All right, so now the last test I want to do before I give you guys my final thoughts and impressions is just the quick magazine change. I do this with all of these rifles, and no, I'm not a competition shooter. I know that some of you guys might be, or maybe you're going to use a gun like this for home defense, and this is going to be a drill that's going to be really important for you. So if an average gun guy like myself can do this really fast, well, I know you can too. And also, trying to shoot this thing really fast, I kind of get to see how this trigger really performs. So here we go. Let's see how fast I can do this and how accurate it is when I'm shooting it fast. And I'm pretty happy with that. I can shoot the gun fast and it's pretty accurate. I did have one little tiny hiccup there with the trigger, and that's just because this reset just seems to be a little bit slower for me, and I have a hard time getting that rhythm and feeling that rhythm and anticipating that. But overall, it was great. So really happy with that. And I think with a Geissele super semi-automatic trigger or some other type of upgraded trigger, I think this thing would be a real beast in the competitive world. So really happy with that. And it's also fun to shoot it at that 45-degree offset. So that's pretty awesome. All right, so what are my final thoughts on the Radian Model 1? Chambered in 223 Wylde and Radian Brown. Billet uppers and lowers, ambi controls, really well thought out and designed handguard. Yeah, this thing is just one awesome rifle. Now, I will say that I have been spoiled lately here at the Texas Gun Vault because my subscribers who lend me guns to review have really been lending me some awesome high-end AR-15s. And to be honest with you, sometimes they kind of run together. You go, well, they're obviously all great quality. They're all built really well. And while I'm lucky enough to get to shoot all of these different models, sometimes I don't really see the advantages of one or another when it comes to function. So I kind of feel like a rifle in this price point, and if you're interested in this rifle, really comes down to what are you looking for. If you want a milled receiver at a billet, this is the type of gun to go for. If you're looking for something that's forged, maybe you want to go in a different direction. Are you looking for something that's more customizable, like this one is? Something that's going to be a little bit different than what other people have at the range versus something that might be a little bit more military inspired, like an LMT. All these guns are in this price point, and I honestly think they all function great. You cannot argue with the accuracy, the reliability, the balance, and the build of this gun. It's absolutely fantastic. So I kind of put it in the pile of just another great, well-built, high-end AR-15. Is it the one for you? Well, only you really know that, depending on what you like, what your preferences are, and what you're looking to do with the rifle. So as I said, if you're more of a military collector, well, maybe the LMT might be the way to go. But if you like something that can be really customized with specialty colors, has lots of options, and might be something a little bit different and want to spend this type of money, this is a great option. And as I mentioned, this gun might be the most accurate AR-15 I've shot in some time. It's well balanced, a lot of fun to shoot. Yeah, I would just honestly upgrade this trigger, and I think that's what the owner D is going to do with this particular rifle. So on my star system, how would I rate the Radian Model 1? Well, it did exceed my expectations. I had absolutely zero issues with it. I like the balance, the ergonomics, the controls, the design. Well, it's obviously going to get 5 out of 5 stars. There are just a couple of things on this that I would want to change. Once again, it's going to be that safety selector switch, and having an adjustable gas block might be a really cool way to go, but it's not needed. And of course, you get the Magpul furniture as well, and that's kind of standard fare on even low-end rifles today. They just kind of dominate the market, but so much attention to detail went into this rifle. It's just a fantastic, fun gun to shoot, so no issues whatsoever. Is it the AR-15 for me? Maybe not. You guys know I like more military-inspired stuff, but if I was in the market for a billet, upper and lower receiver on a high-end AR-15, I don't think you can go wrong with a company like Radian. So very impressed. 5 out of 5 stars. So what do you guys think? Do you own a Radian? And if you've shot one, what do you think? Do your experiences echo mine? I would love to know in the comment section below. And once again, D, thank you so much for lending this to the channel. So, as always, thanks for watching. That was designed to kind of mix between those